a better woman than her. One day I'll definitely become your favorite. Let's just enjoy our amazing relationship now.
Through the doorway of the break, Rock witnessed my husband, Chris, and a woman embracing each other intimate. I was on maternity leave and had only come here today to pick up something I had forgotten. I shouldn't have seen it. I wonder if I would have been happier if I never found out or knew about this. I clamped my mouth shut and back. As I back away, my back hits the wall and makes me wail. My stomach aches and I slump down. Cleaning lady, Diane, sees me. "Oh my God," she says. "What happened? Are you okay?" She looked at me with a mop in her worried look on her face, and as I explained the situation to her,
What a terrible man. I'll teach him a lesson.
I can't cause that kind of trouble at work. Besides, how are we going to get there?
Well, I'm a cleaning lady, just literally cleaning up this terrible mess.
she says, and gripped the mop tightly. My name is Georgina. I am a happy new wife who got married at the beginning of last year. I'm married to Chris, who works for the same company as me and is 5 years older than me. He works in a different department, got to know each other through submitting some documents at the same time, and invited me to dinner with him. Chris is a handsome man who works in a popular company, and it was like a dream come true when he approached me. For a few months after we were married, we worked as colleagues, but at the beginning of this year, we found out we were pregnant. After discussing it with Chris, we applied for maternity leave. I received permission from the comparative maternity leave and began to go on as I was celebrated by my colleagues at work. Before the leave, I also informed the cleaning lady, Diane, about it. My company uses a rather large building for its office, so the cleaning is done by cleaning ladies who come from a different company, but Diane and I are good friends with one of them. When I ask her about problems that hard to talk about with people at work, when I have a casual conversation, she has a lot of experience and give. She is kind of like a life mentor too. She has also been giving me some advice my love life with Chris.
Hey, Diane. From tomorrow, I'm going to go into leave, so we won't be able to catch up often.
Oh, really? I'm a little sad. But until I get to see your baby, guess I have to do my best here.
Saying this, Diane saw me off with, the maternity leave was completely different from just a vacation. It was a very special time for me, both physically and mentally. The morning sickness was so severe that I couldn't sleep very well. And the stress built up so much that I often overlooked Chris. That was probably the reason. Compared to the past, my conversation with Chris has become a bit more awkward. I'm sorry that I took it out on you, but there was nothing else I could do at the time. I tried my best every day to not bot as much as possible, and I tried to housework as much as possible. Chris was also busy with work, so I really asked him to take care of me. Even though I knew this in my head, there were times when it was very hard for me to accept. At times like those, I would try to take my mind off of things. If I felt sick, I should be doing this. When my stomach hurts, I should be that. It was much more reassuring to ask experienced lady than to look thing the internet. With such a powerful ally, I managed to overcome that harsh, anxious period and finally reached to the stable period. Since I was advised not to write too much, I decided to do yoga at home. Then one day, I received a call from
Georgina, I was cleaning your department earlier and I picked up your font. It must have fallen off your desk for some reason. I heard that it's one of your important things, so that's why I called you, Case.
that fountain pen that Diane was talking about was my treasure. My father bought this fountain pen, a gift once I started to work. In an age where normal ballpoint pens are more practical, I never used it much, but I was so happy with my father's sentiment that I always carried it with me to work. He was a father who really cared. He would have jumped up and down with excitement when I told him about my pregnancy. However, he passed away a few years. Now I remember about my father through my treasured fountain pen.
Thanks for editing. That's really important to me, since it's one of my treasure. It's with me.
Then do you want to come pick it up now? I'm here at the company until, after all, it's probably good for you, right?
I agreed to Diane's idea right away. I called the company to let them know that I would try to arrive at the office within an hour, and then I left. Since it had been a while since I'd been there, I decided to say hello to my colleagues in the department and buy some cupcakes at a pastry shop on my way. The company I hadn't been to in a while seemed a little far away. A little nervous, I headed to the B where I was meeting Diane before go. Department. Looking at my watch, I saw that IG office a little earlier than the pro time. My stomach was heavy, so I went into the kitchen to rest. But as soon as I sat down, I heard a noise coming from the back of the room. Reflexively gasping for air, I quit in the back. It was Chris. But it should not be a break time at hour. Why was Chris in here? Just as I was thinking that, I heard a woman's voice who seemed to be close by Chris. The woman had hugged Chris. I was so shocked that I couldn't speak. Then, Chris and the woman kissed each other, thinking that no one was there. They were making out passionately that I wanted to cover my eyes. I left the break room and ran to the restroom. Later, tears and frustration flowed, and I couldn't stop crying. As I was hyperventilating in the bathroom, Diane had walked in.
Georgina! What happened? Why are you here? Are you not feeling well? How is your stomach?
Once I heard her gentle voice, I started to cry even harder. Diane kept rubbing my back until I downed for the moment. After I had finished crying, I told her everything I had just seen. She was as hurt and angry as I was found out about Chris' affair.
I can't believe him. This is terrible. How could he have an affair with a woman in his office while his own WW is pregnant with his child, is wait home? This is absolutely unforgivable. Cooperate with what? Gathering evidence of his affair. I can't let a man like that get away.
She was very motivated. I was grateful for her help, but I felt that I had to ask her to do something else for me. When I told her that, she smiled again.
Actually, there are not many people cleaners like us as equals. Sometimes they just talk to us as if we're just cleaners, when we are just that. We are just doing our job, but George, you're very friendly to us and take good care of us. We can't just let such a kind person go.
And Diane immediately took out her.
Let's share this information with my cleaner friends. Georgina, give me a picture of your... We're going to get a thorough look affair.
I was carried away by Diane's motivation, so I sent her the pictures of Chris. To be honest, I didn't rely on her. I didn't think it was possible for a detective to gather any good, solid evidence. But the cleaning ladies actually did a good job at trying to find the evidence. Actually, the daily photos of evidences between Chris and the woman left me speechless. I was impressed by Diane's network. In the beginning, every time I saw the evidence, I was filled with sadness. But after a while, my anger grew strong, and I began to enjoy the feeling that time and evidence were sent to me, having more weapons. I couldn't wait to confront Chris, looking so innocent in the photo. That's what I thought every day. Some videos included one in which Chris and the woman were panicking, and she deliberately opened the door of the room with great force where they were staying. Once, Chris was so surprised that he fell over, and His pathetic appearance made him feel a little better. But I won't let this level of payback end here. I won't let him keep smiling forever. I have the strongest companions, and I will definitely make Chris rest in peace. I'm going to make him pay for what me, and I'll double it. I immediately went to my lawyer with a large amount of evidence we had gathered. He was very surprised by the quantity and accuracy of the evidence.
You must have had a very good detective to find that out.
Yes, I do. I have the strongest allies.
Thanks to them, I was able to get a conviction that I would be able to alimony. I was now ready to put the finishing touches on the case. Thanks to the information provided by my amazing friends, I was able to predict exactly what time Chris would be having his lunch break in the break room. Seeing the time, I decided to go to the office and to the break room. I was accompanied by Diane, who took photos of me with the camera just in case anything went wrong, which was a relief for my press stomach too. When I entered the break room, I found two people sitting at a table. The other woman was a receptionist, Amanda. Only for today, you know. To my surprise, Chris was having an affair with several women. To start with, Chris was a good-looking guy and was targeted by many women, but he didn't really change even after we got married. In fact, because of my presence, it probably much more convenient for high around with other women. Amanda sat down with her face hidden, saw me, and also saw the recording.
Gee, Georgina, why are you here?
That's what I want to say to you. Why are you cheating on this woman when you have me and our baby coming?
I'm not cheating on you. There must be some mistake. We were just together. We weren't doing anything.
Do you really think that your excuse to work? We already have several pieces of equipment.
Then Diane threw a copy of the eviction notice at Chris. Chris looked at it and turned pale.
You took this without my permission. It's a crime.
You cheated on me and you think you're a victim? Are you kidding me?
I took out the divorce papers and to Chris. I had written and signed everything column.
Calm down, Georgina. Let's just talk it over.
Chris says this and glared at Diane with hateful eyes.
You're the old lady who cleaned up Ark, aren't you? You've done such a stupid thing. You destroy people's families and so much fun doing it.
No, it wasn't fun at all. Was just doing this for my dear friend.
Your friend? Don't make me laugh. You're just a janitor.
Chris snickered and tore up the copy proof of the affair.
You're a janitor, right? Look, there's the trash, so throw it.
Chris was so angry that he seemed that the cameras were rolling.
You old hag, you got me in trouble. Did you enjoy getting people into trouble that much? I envy you. You're one of those kinds of people who can just do their job without any responsibilities at all. You just have all the time and such trivial things. You guys are just hired to do the dirty work, so just shut up and take out the trash.
Neither Amanda nor I could help but be shocked by the way Chris was yelling at Diary. We had thought that he would never horrible things. This must be Chris's true nature. I shudder to think what would have if I hadn't noticed the affair and to be married to him. It would have been not long before have shown this violent side of him's home. In the midst of all this, Diane was without fear.
You're right. Like you said, I'm just a woman who anything but pick up trash. But,
Then Diane walked up to Chris.
I can throw away trashy people like, what kind of trash are you? I guess you must be a bulky trash.
Chris was overwhelmed by Diane's words. Then he cursed and walked out of the room. That day, I went back to my parents' house and never saw Chris again. The divorce was handled from all the evidence, I was able to gather a large amount of alimony. And as expected, Chris came crying to me, but I ignored it. I cried many more times than he did, so I deserved this. This incident soon became a huge run company. It seems that each of the women was having an affair thought that he only one who loved them, and Chris get the cold shoulders from all the. As for Amanda, she was also married, and her husband and Chris got into trouble. Finally, Diane sent me a painful picture of Chris with a big bandage on his face. If that happened, Chris couldn't stay there. He was later transferred to a warehouse known for its hard physical labor, alimony, and child support payments. Couldn't really quit. The next few years will be hell for. Well, it's none of my business anymore. As for me, I gave birth to my daughter the month after this incident. She will be a very strong child who has overcome the harsh times. However, I don't want her to go through the same hardships that I went through. After the maternity leave, I return work. The receptionist had changed her hair color. In fact, I was thinking of quitting the company because of Chris's incident, but my boss and colleagues convinced me to stay for the sake of the company and child, and I decided to continue. Now that I think about it, it certainly would have been a shame to give up my position as a full-time employee. I think it was the right decision to live a life as carefree possible. And I had a day off from work today, came to a very popular sweet shop neighborhood. The reason for this was because I wanted to send an assortment of chocolates to my friends who supported me during the incident. Diane and I had become even more cool ever before. In fact, she was like another mother.
If you need anything, you can always me. I'm your friend.
I was more than happy to hear that. I'm thinking of inviting Diane to my house for tea on my next vacation. I can't wait for her to meet my daughters. That's what I thought on that summer.
You're